My sister swore Mom promised her the china set, a last blessing in porcelain, and most of the family believed her. I kept quiet until two dull things, credit card dispute photos and a wedding registry entry, pointed, like arrows at who actually owned it. You're watching Revenge Files. Subscribe for a new twist daily. I live in Columbus, Ohio, in a brick duplex 3 blocks from a park where sycamores shed bark in papery curls. The kitchen is small, with a thrifted oak table and a patchwork of pale subway tiles I set one winter weekend. That room has seen birthdays, breakups, and one Thanksgiving where my mother taught me how to warm plates so gravy doesn't go dull. Mom died on January 22, 2024, pneumonia after a brittle December, quiet and quick. We gathered in her bungalow in Clintonville the night after the funeral, clinging to tasks because grief hates stillness. My older sister Ava stood at the dining room doorway, hands on her hips, surveying the china cabinet like a general choosing a hill. "The china is mine," she said, soft but sure. "Mom promised me years ago." No one challenged her. The cabinet glass reflected faces that didn't want another fight. The pattern looked like a wedding veil. White bone china with a slim gold rim, 12-place settings, a platter, a tureen we almost never used. It was the only thing in that room that looked like certainty. I said nothing. My hands found the back of a chair, knuckles white. Ava turned. "You know it, Lolo. She told me after your shower," she said, "you take the good dishes when I'm gone." I met her eyes. "She told me she wanted them used, by me," she said. The executor, our cousin Daniel, cleared his throat and kept it procedural. "Listed on the inventory. If it's contested, we'll take it to probate mediation. For now, nothing leaves the house." But then Ava opened the cabinet anyway, and I watched her count plates the way people count chips at a table. She closed the glass, snapped a photo, and texted a friend. Her jaw looked carved. She didn't box anything that night, she just tested the boundary. I went home to my duplex with 2 paper grocery bags of pantry odds and ends because that was all I could carry without shaking. I made tea and sat at the oak table and took a breath like something you have to pay for. Here is what no one in that room knew. The china wasn't a family heirloom. It wasn't inherited from Grandma. It wasn't even Mom's purchase. It was mine. In 2016, when I married Jonah in a small ceremony in German village, we registered at Macy's for basics: sheets, pans, 2 lamps, plus 1 indulgence, Noritake Hampshire Gold, 12-place settings. I added it late at night, half as a joke. It felt like something out of a magazine. Aunt Linda and 2 of Mom's church friends bought most of it together, a huge surprise. The registry marked it purchased May 30, 2016, shipped to our then apartment on Neal Avenue. We used the set twice that first year, carefully, like wearing a silk dress to the grocery store. Then Mom's arthritis got bad, and hosting felt like climbing stairs in wet boots. I brought the set to her place for Thanksgiving so she didn't have to lift her stoneware. After dinner, she said, "Leave them for a while. I like seeing them." I did. Time has a way of swallowing a while. Years passed. Jonah and I split in 2019. The set stayed at Mom's house because holidays lived there, and because looking at it in my small kitchen felt like too much, like a promise we broke. Life rearranged itself around the easy lie that the china belonged to the house. One problem: stories harden when no one checks the receipts. 2 days after Ava counted plates with her phone, I found her parked in Mom's driveway with a stack of dish boxes from a storage store, the ones with sleeves and foam. It was a Tuesday in late January, bright and bitter. She had that errand-running calm of a person who thinks the decision is already made. "You can't remove property from the estate," I said. "I'm the property," she said. "Mom's promise." I pulled out my own phone and pressed record, framing the boxes, the cabinet, the tags. "I'm documenting." She rolled her eyes. "Document the truth, then." Daniel drove over, set a hand on the doorframe, and negotiated a ceasefire. "Nothing would move," he said, "or we'd let the court move us all." Ava left the boxes on the porch like threats, and I took a photo of the UPC on each. I learned a long time ago that threats sometimes arrive with barcodes. That night, I sat at the oak table again, opened my laptop, and went hunting. I didn't search for feelings. I searched for proof. Email first, I typed Macy's Registry into the search bar and watched a decade collapse into a list. There it was, the registry link, still live, still showing our spoon set, our towels, and the china, green check marks next to everything. purchase dates stamped like tiny verdicts. I clicked View Details. The page loaded slow, as if it had to climb out of 2016. It showed Noritake Hampshire Gold, 12 place settings, purchased May 30th, 2016. It showed Ship to Lauren Cole, 421 Neal Avenue, the 3C, Columbus, 043,215. My name. My address. Under gift message, a line in Mom's tidy print from a digital card. So proud to see you feed people off something beautiful. Love, Mom. I took a screenshot and printed it. I circled my name and the Ship to line in red pen. I wrote Exhibit A at the top, except I needed one more chain in the link. People forget where gifts go. People forget what they say. People tell stories around a cabinet. Paper cuts through story. I remembered the chipped platter. August 2019. I'd stored the set at Mom's, still trying to decide if I wanted to take it back. We hosted a small, shaky dinner after Jonah moved out, because grief wants company that isn't pity. When I unwrapped the oval platter, a hairline crack ran from rim to center like a road on a map. I filed a merchandise claim through my credit card, Chase, because it had purchase protection within a certain window. The claim counselor asked for photos of the crack and the shipping label from when I sent it back. I took them on Mom's kitchen counter. I remember because the counter was that honey laminate with cigarette burns from the 70s, and I was embarrassed by it and moved a dish towel to block the worst. I dug through my email for Chase claim. Merchandise, Noritake, there it was, claim received. Case 19-4802, the portal link still worked. I logged in and my heart hammered because everything else felt like it might be memory playing itself, but this was math. The case file had 2 photo thumbnails. I clicked. The first showed the crack like a thin river under a ceiling light flare. The second showed the box with the carrier label and a return address to the vendor, but my name and Mom's address on the original, taped to the side. The shipping label I'd saved to prove origin. In the corner of the image, half in frame, was the Clintonville Gazette, with a date I couldn't fake, August 14, 2019. The laminate counter showed its burn, the one exactly 15 inches from the back corner. I printed both. Exhibit B. I stapled the email header with the case number to the prints. I wrote Ship to and origin visible underlined twice. I slept that night the way you sleep on a plane, eyes closed, shoulders clenched. The next morning, I sent Daniel a careful email with attachments. I didn't accuse. I didn't write poetry. I wrote, for the contested china set, please see Exhibit A, wedding registry purchase details showing Ship to Lauren Cole. Exhibit B, credit card claim photos showing original Ship to and return label, taken at Mom's address by me on August 14, 2019. In short, the set was my wedding gift, loaned to Mom. I requested be excluded from the estate inventory and returned. He replied within an hour. Received. Setting probate mediation for next week, Tuesday, February 6, 9:30 a.m., Franklin County Probate Court. Bring originals. Ava texted me 5 minutes later, so that's your game. Then, Mom spoke. That matters more than a receipt. I did not reply. I saved the text as a PDF. I started a folder. China, probate. Until Daniel called with a warning. Ava got a lawyer, he said. Not a bulldog, more like a neighbor with opinions. But she's bringing him. I took a breath, opened a fresh pad of paper, and wrote a list. Bound notebook, extra pens, copies for all, index tabs, white prints off platter so it doesn't look like a crime scene. I packed the registry page, the claim photos, the email headers, and a tiny thing that felt silly but wasn't. A thank you card Mom wrote after Thanksgiving, 2020. In blue ink, the message short. Thanks for letting me keep the fancy plates here. They look happy. Come take them back when you want. It wasn't a contract, but it was a sentence with a compass in it. Mediation rooms in courthouse basements always smell like old coffee and anxious suits. Ours had a table with 8 scuffed chairs, one window that looked at a brick wall, and a man with a tie that had been ironed without patience. He introduced himself as Carter, neutral mediator, a former probate attorney who now liked calming people down for a living. Ava sat across from me in a navy blazer, hair smooth, hand flat on a yellow legal pad. Her lawyer, Ms. Pierce, wore a gray cardigan and glasses you could trust. Daniel sat to one side with a stack of estate files and a face that said, "Let's be done." Carter began with the script. We're here to resolve a specific dispute. ownership and disposition of the china set currently housed at the decedent's residence. We are not here to relitigate childhood. We are not here to guess what someone would have wanted in the abstract. We're here to look at what the law calls evidence. Miss Cole, he nodded at me, you asked for this. Present. I slid copies across the table. Exhibit A is the Macy's wedding registry purchase details. Note the ship to. Exhibit B is the credit card claim images from August 2019 regarding a cracked platter, showing the original shipping label with my name and address, and a return to the vendor. Exhibit C is a thank you card from Mom in November 2020, in which she refers to me letting her keep the plates here, implying a loan, not a gift. Pierce glanced at Ava, then at the papers. The mother's promise. Carter held a hand up without looking at her. We'll get to statements. Continue. I kept my voice even. The set lived at Mom's because hosting lived at Mom's. I never transferred ownership. I did not gift the set to her. I left it in her home for convenience during holidays. When I filed a claim related to a damaged piece, I did so as the owner. I didn't look at Ava. I looked at the laminate countertop in the photo, at the burned spot that has been in my life since second grade. Carter nodded once, slow. Ms. Hart, he said to Ava, tell me about this promise. Ava sat up, folding and unfolding her hands. After Lauren's shower in the car, Mom said, you take the good dishes when I'm gone. It was gentle. It was one of those mother-daughter things. She told me she wanted me to have something nice. Any witnesses? Carter asked. No, Ava said. Just us, Pierce leaned in. We're not talking about a toaster. We're talking about the mother's specific intent. Equity recognizes, Carter turned to her. Equity recognizes a lot of things. It doesn't recognize telepathy. If the decedent had meant to bequeath the set, she could have written that. She did not. There's no specific devise in the will. Pierce made a neat note. But there's verbal intent. Maybe, Carter said, but it has to overcome paper. But then Carter did something I didn't expect. He lifted the registry page, not like a lawyer but like a school principal holding up a permission slip. Ship 2 is Miss Cole. And this, what is this? He squinted. Gift message? I nodded. From Mom. She filled it out on the store kiosk with Aunt Linda. He read it out loud. The room changed temperature that only I felt. Ava stared at the table. Her knuckle went white at the edge. Carter set the page down. We'd be foolish to pretend this isn't persuasive. Now the cracked platter claim, where did the replacement go? To Mom's, I said. Everything stayed together. He tapped the photos. And the return label in the photo shows the original ship to name. Lauren. Good. He turned to Ava again, expression gentle. I know grief writes its own legal briefs, but I can't name a judge in this county who'd award you this set over these documents. Ava's jaw tensed. So what do I get? It sounded like a child in a storm. Carter kept his voice level. We're not horse trading the estate today. We are solving one fight. The law says this china is not estate property. The practical question is logistics. Daniel finally spoke. Logistics, how to get it to Lauren without breakage. And a small accounting issue. When I inventoried the set, 3 soup bowls were missing. Replacement cost is $26 each on the manufacturer's site. Total $78. Truth is merciless in small amounts. It also heals. Carter wrote something on a form. Proposed resolution. The china set is recognized as the property of Lauren Cole. Ava Hart will relinquish any claim and deliver all pieces currently at the decedent's home to Ms. Cole within 72 hours. Missing pieces will be replaced by Miss Hart within 14 days, or she will pay Miss Cole $78 to cover replacements. And Miss Cole will provide packing materials. Both parties will sign a mutual release of claims regarding the set. Agreed? Pierce whispered to Ava for a long 30 seconds. Ava stared at the registry page like it had cheated. Then she said, fine. I said, agreed. We signed. Carter stapled. He handed copies across the table like spoons. Everything suddenly felt both smaller and cleaner, except the mid-roll surge didn't end in that room. When I got to Mom's house the next afternoon with dish sleeves and foam, the cabinet doors were open and 2 stacks of plates were missing. My stomach dropped. I called Daniel. Ava swung by early, he said. She said she was preparing. She left 15 minutes ago. I drove to her place, a tan ranch on a cul-de-sac where everyone's garbage cans face the same way. I knocked until the porch light blinked to life. Ava opened the door, face blank, the silence of someone who has rehearsed being reasonable. "I need the plates," I said. We signed. She stepped aside. The boxes were in the living room, stacked by the sofa like an unfinished puzzle. I could see how she'd imagined them there, in a hut she didn't own yet, at dinners she wanted to hold, at a table with louder laughter. "Let me help carry them," she said, small. I thought about refusing. I thought about making a scene. Instead, I said, yes. We walked plates to my trunk together, me holding one end, her the other, like pallbearers for something that wasn't dying. At Mom's, we packed the rest. I counted aloud. She counted back. When we got to the bowls, the number stalled. 3 missing, I said. She nodded. "I know. I'll order them today." She paused. "Do you have to make me pay? I mean, do you personally have to watch me do it?" I thought about the porch boxes, the cabinet, the promise in a car. I thought about the registry message. I said, "I don't have to watch, but I am going to check." She closed her eyes, nodded, and whispered, "Okay." We loaded the final box. I swept the cabinet shelves with a damp cloth and a sigh. The shelves looked naked. The house sounded new. We locked the door behind us. The bowls arrived 9 days later, drop-shipped, packing peanuts on my floor like confetti after a parade no one attended. Ava forwarded the receipt without commentary. I replied, "Received. Thank you." I spent a Saturday morning unboxing the set into my small kitchen. The oak table looked a little smug under that much gloss. I lined plates by size. I nested bowls. I put the platter on the counter for a minute longer than necessary because I wanted to watch it catch the light. Then I did something small and huge. I used them. I texted 3 friends, "Come hungry." I roasted a chicken with lemon and thyme, mashed potatoes with obscene butter, green beans with almond slivers the way Mom insisted. I warmed the plates. We sat, clinked, passed, refilled. My friend Mateo said, "I feel fancy and loved." That was the point. Later, dishwater hot and steamy, I thought about how arguments die, not with speeches, not with vindication shouted in a driveway, but with ink and receipts and the hum of a dishwasher that still works after years. I dried the platter and slid it into the cabinet above the microwave. It fit exactly, as if the cabinet had been built for it, and we were merely catching up. A week after the mediation, Carter mailed his written summary to both of us. The language was dry. The conclusion was not, "Ownership confirmed, delivery completed, costs accounted, matter closed." I put the letter in the folder, labeled China, Probate, then moved the folder to a file box labeled Home. Spring came like a rumor. Sycamores peeled. The neighborhood farmers' market reappeared with strawberries that tasted like a joke on winter. On April 14, I set the table for 4 and lit 1 candle because 1 is enough. I placed a plate down and my hand stopped. I heard Mom, not in a car, not promising favors, but in her kitchen while water boiled, feed people off something beautiful. Not everything beautiful breaks. Some things survive moves and misunderstandings, and a lawyer's sigh. Some things sit in a cabinet until you're ready to use them. If anyone asks how a few photos and a registry beat a memory, I'll tell them. Truth often travels on boring paper. It's not less true because it wore receipts instead of a speech. And in the end, we ate, and nothing tasted like a